Welcome back to the vlog. Matt's still dealing with construction.
This is kind of interesting looking. It's like fully sunny. I guess the sun just came up pretty much. But patch of fog. Looks like it might even come across the, or yeah, it definitely does come across the road. Probably ain't very long, because it's like it's just from like the sun beating on all the condensation. Like there's spots along the highway where you can see steam rising off the grass. That I always think like, hey, I should vlog that, and then I never did it quick enough. But yeah, and then this is that end where like down right over here was all flooded. Like right after thaw and with that early rain. Actually, it looks like it's a pretty dense fog wall down here. I didn't think it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like chintzy. Cause yeah, see right over there. There's a spot where you can still kind of see it freshly rising off the ground. Yeah, this is I thought there could have been a little fog, but this is a little bit crazy compared to what I expected. This is kind of cool. You can like kind of see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up very good, but you can kind of see through the fog to the blue sky, but it's still foggy down here. I think I'm already through the thickest part. It looks like it could thicken back up down here, but yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That's actually kind of cool. Okay, that's surprising. I just saw a 80s Volkswagen something with the actual like European plate. You don't see them that often around here. Also, I have no idea what that car was. It looked like it kind of had the nose a little bit like a Golf, but it was like long, like it was like the size of like an Impala wagon, like a like a full wagon, not like a short little thing. It was weird. I was trying to figure out what that was. Okay, so Saturday we saw like a giant flock of seagulls, like just outside Deer Lodge, like kind of in the middle of nowhere. But they're seagulls, which means, I mean, they got called seagulls for a reason. It means they steer near water, usually. And apparently my dad said there'd been another one. And just now, I saw something kind of like go behind a hill, and I'm like, oh, I better be kind of careful. That might be a deer. And as I dip down, there are like 40 or 50 hawks. Like most of them massive hawks, like bordering on being eagle-sized. Just like perched on the fence post, like looking at Boulder. Maybe the movie The Birds is about to happen. It's kind of interesting because like irrational fears. Birds would be like in the top like 2, but if birds decided to go evil like that movie, it would be pretty scary because I mean, heck, I've had seen fairly small birds hit windows and break them, like house windows. And it's like, if you think about like a hawk with those talons and the beak, if all of a sudden it's like, we're killing that guy, they start pecking you, like, I mean, first off, it would catch you off guard, for sure. But it's like, if there was like 5 or 6 hawks that like teamed up, and like, as big as some of them are, if like one of them flew into the back of your legs, it could probably knock you down, especially if you weren't paying attention. And then all of a sudden it's like you're on your back while like 4 of them land on you and start pecking you. Like it would. It's kind of like, it's the same thing with spiders. It's like most spiders are harmless and like try to avoid people. But like, you get a black widow that like crawls up in your bed and bites you on your like upper leg. Like where it's like in like near center mass like that. Yeah, it's like spiders are an irrational fear, but there are times where the fear is reasonable. It's like kind of same with heights. It's like, yeah, if you're like on like, oh, like that thing when we were on our way back from Idaho by Twin Falls by that bridge that Megan was freaking out about. And then like the rail breaks. All of a sudden heights are actually scary. Or if like you're on like a rope bridge and like one of the ropes breaks. Or cables is what they are now. But yeah. Like even the most irrational fears, like they're based in some reality. But it's kind of like that thing with that tunnel here that I mentioned that MDT is bound and determined to keep locked up, when it's like nobody ever really goes through it. So it's like if it were to collapse, there's statistically zero chance of someone being in it, because it's like, oh, it'd be like that, like 2 people go through it per day, and it's like if it collapsed, it would collapse over about 2 seconds. It takes about 10 seconds to get through it, so there's someone in it for about 20 seconds a day. So it's like, and then the chances of it actually collapsing are probably like 2 or 3%. So then it's like, you extrapolate that in the fact that there's somebody in it for 20 seconds a day, and the fact we basically have to have an earthquake for it to collapse. So it's like the chances of someone being in there when we had an earthquake big enough to make it collapse. But like if you have a fear of tunnels, like yeah, if you happen to be in it when it's collapsing, but like the chances are basically zero. It's like fear of flying. Like it's pretty dang rare that planes crash. And like when they do, it's usually takeoff or landing. So in a lot of situations, they're either not up to speed or most of the way slowed down. And a lot of times it's like a failure, like when they're on the ground, like, you know, like a running gear breaks at touchdown. So it's like in a lot of situations, like things like that aren't going to be fatal because you're not actually falling out of the sky. But if all of a sudden you're in the sky and it starts to fall out of the sky, all of a sudden your irrational fear is very rational. But it's like, that's what makes them irrational, is the fact that there's like an incredibly small chance of these things happening. You know, like the spider fear becomes much more rational if you like live in a city that's built in the middle of a jungle full of deadly spiders. Or like, you know, if like your fear is snakes and you built a house and like right next to the Prairie Dog Village thing outside of Great Falls by the Buffalo Jump State Park, because, you know, gophers that aren't allowed to be shot or killed in any way, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them, so that's basically an unlimited food source for rattlesnakes. So rattlesnakes love it there. So yeah, like your fear would become a lot more rational, because it's like, oh, okay, there's a very good chance for a rattlesnake ending up in my home. Okay, I really don't get this. They have right lane closed, then you go like 200 yards, and then they have you switch back over to the right lane. Like, I mean, I think they're probably going to eventually do that right lane section of guardrail, but they're not the cones that they like bolt to the ground. It's just the normal candles. So why on earth? The lack of logic in some of these construction projects, or like when they're setting up traffic control, is just astronomical to me. But one last thing on the rational versus irrational fear. No fear is rational, because it's like, if it's going to be like, oh, I'm going to like be afraid to do literally anything, like, because it's like, if, oh, I'm terrified of water, like, oh, so you just can't go in boats. Like, I mean, and if it's like that bad, like, what, you can't be on shore? Like, what, you can't bathe? You know, I mean, it's like, because like anything that you think, like, and then like public speaking, like, unless you're that afraid of it, it's going to give you a heart attack, which, you know, then that fear is extra irrational because you killed yourself with it. But yeah, like, no fear makes sense, because it's like, I mean, if you let any fear impact your life, like, and I mean, obviously, like, if it's like, okay, I'm on a walking trail and all of a sudden I come across like a snake breeding ball, yeah, like, I guess that's not fear, that's just logic, I was gonna say, because it's like, you're not necessarily afraid of it, you're just like, I'll get bit if I go that way. But yeah, it's like, if you have a fear of snakes and you come across that, then it's like, oh, I'm gonna like veer off the, like, go around or take a different path. But if you're like, I'm gonna not even take, like, that freaks me out so bad, I'm not even taking this trail, you just probably lost out on like one of the greatest hikes you could have ever taken out of fear, instead of like just being like, okay, yep, that's not cool, I don't want to get bit, and finding a way around. Like, you think about it, like there's like some of the best experiences in life, if you let your fears win, you will miss out on. A different point, this is kind of funny because just the other day I was like, oh my god, look at this, the truck's at 12.5. Whee! I think like both of them, the construction helps. Actually, this was up to 29.4 before that last construction zone, but it'll be to 30 before Helena, because there's this construction zone, then another construction zone, so it's like you're slowed down to like 55 or 60. Like about half the rest of the trip to Helena, so yeah. More than double the truck. I wonder what the tallest someone's ever made a Wrangler is, because with whatever that is sticking up, that's got to be pushing it. That's another thing that makes this really funny too, though, is like when I left Butte, I'm now like 10 miles from Helena, which means I've gone 60 miles. And I had like 323 when I left Butte. It's just kind of funny, like when you're getting good fuel mileage and that's adjusting, like how quick that will go up. That kind of ties into our video about fuel ranges being a lie, if you haven't checked that one out. That's kind of more of like when you're close to the end and like what it's telling you. But still, it's like, you know, because then on like it'll plummet on the way back when it's like mostly uphill, and I'll go back down to like 28.5 or so. All right, let's see an update. Full week since Nathan was sick last Thursday. Still basically no more dirt than there was before over that culvert. Let's see about the next one. I'll be intrigued. They have to have at least one of them paved, because Nathan had a fever last Thursday, so I didn't drive. So that's been a full week again. Nope. Doesn't even look like they're close. Like they've got the dirt. Okay, they have the culvert buried finally, but like it's still not even flat. Looks like maybe they'll get the dirt work done enough to do pavement today, but that doesn't look like they're gonna get any more than that. The funny thing is that, I mean, like, it'll probably end up being like next Thursday they'll finally pave it. It'll be like, oh yeah, because it's like, you know, they obviously got to add more dirt to get it flat and level, but like that's easy. Like that could easily be done in a day, especially using those big side dumps to bring dirt in, which obviously, like for that big of a project, of course that's what they'd be doing. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's just kind of interesting because it's like, you know, in like big cities where there's too much traffic to do too much. It's like, hey, we're shutting this highway or interstate or whatever down at like 8 p.m. and then it's staying closed till 6 a.m. But then everything that we're going to do is going to be done. Like, they would pound these bridges out overnight in a big city. Easy. Like that's like the ones by Butte that took 3 years. Like, they don't even have the crossovers to keep traffic off of it done yet. Like, I mean, like, it'll be interesting. That just kind of sucks Megan doesn't edit these quicker, because you won't really be able to tell, but I'm pretty sure it was early May. So it's like they're a month and a half almost into just building the crossovers so that like they can get traffic on one side to work on the opposite bridge. Like, anybody that doesn't think that's insane is either mentally challenged or insane. Oh my god, no, there's work up here now? Another one? They're trying to make it where the entire trip from Boulder Hill or from Boulder, top of Boulder Hill on is construction. Holy crap. Right before my exit. 30.1. Really happy I don't live where I used to live, because holy crap. Okay, because like, obviously they're about to build stuff there. None of this was here. But those red condos there, I lived in them. Like, and you just get the view that's over my shoulder, which you can't really see, just to the mountains over there, which was awesome. It's gonna be completely gone. Yeah, and this is that billboard I've referenced about like the abortion-y thing. Like, yeah. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I guess like the one nice thing is they can't build right across the street from my condo or my old condo, like for whoever lives there now, because there's like a drainage, like basically pond. If there's like massive runoff, it fills up a little, like a few feet at the bottom. But it's like, I don't know. I guess they could like fill it in and divert it somewhere, divert any water that's going to go there somewhere else. But yeah, it's just kind of, that was like the only good thing about that place, really, because I hate being attached to other people. And I'm also not a fan of Helena, so it was like, it's in a bad town. And then also the people I was attached to were your typical like weird, whiny, stuck-up Helena people. So yeah, it was a lose. But with a view. Okay, there's a spot where like the gutter, there's like a concrete crossing so that the gutter stays flowing downhill. And I mean, it's a mild bit rough, but you don't have to drop off the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit in this car. And this guy in this Tacoma just slowed down to like 12. Like what? Like, it just shows the people that buy Toyota trucks don't even understand what a truck is. I do have to admit, though, not just because it's available with a stick, but it's just a far superior truck. Tacoma does blow the Tundra out of the water. But especially on that manual transmission availability thing. I don't know if they tried yet, but, you know, that gravel they put in our parking lot for that one day. I'm definitely right about these trees getting more dense. I mean, granted, it's clouding up, but it is dark right here. And I noticed on those, it's like that too, and most of the trees on the way here, we're getting tons of moisture, so of course it makes sense they're getting heavier and thicker and more leaves on them and such. Okay, when I said Impala wagon, clearly I was exaggerating, but apparently a Volkswagen Dasher, I think is what it was based on some Googling. This is like, I mean, I don't know if you can see exactly how much it looks like they did, but that's like to that point I made. Like, look at that pile, like, look at how much they've done there to like start doing whatever they're doing there. They have done more today, because that dirt was barely touched this morning, than those people doing those crossings down here have done in like a month and a half. And I mean, even that's another thing. Like, that got started after that, and there's like the footings are in, and they have everything formed to start pouring walls. Based on the water kicking off that semi a second ago, I think we're gonna have another very abrupt. I guess it ain't that abrupt. It looks like it's only gonna like last like a couple of miles. Like, I mean, if I was going straight, but I'm not, I curve and go up this canyon, which, yeah, doesn't look like it's gonna be like that up there. Sometimes I forget this doesn't have auto wipers. Yeah, it's gonna be stopped in another like mile. Yep. Well, I was wrong. I thought on the way home it'd get down to like 28.5. It actually ended up a little. Weird.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.